The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
To Thelma Darling.
Last name, Sam?
Roger.
Thelma Roger.
Darling!
I only asked, Sam.
Let's get on with it.
Yes, Sam, I'm sorry. From Samuel Spade, license number 1375596. Subject?
Subject, the Quarter Eagle caper. Dear Thelma Darling.
Sam.
Yes, F?
Isn't that redundant?
Again?
The salutation, Sam. Shouldn't it be Dear Thelma or Thelma Darling, but not both?
Now, get this, F. It's real deep. Her name is Thelma Darling.
I have that, dear. Thelma Roger.
Darling, it's a name. Her father was a darling before her.
Oh, really, Sam? Can't you take a joke?
On the egg type, you should paste the label, grade AA, fresh. Dear Thelma Darling, I'm stubborn. Not all of this will be news to you. The part that is will be bad news. The start of it was not a quarter eagle, but a bald eagle. He swooped in through the door of my office, landed in front of my desk, perched on the edge of a chair, and said...
My name is Eagle, Mr. Spade. Junius J. Eagle. My card.
Uh-huh. Eagle Vending Machine Company, huh?
They call me the Gumball King. I'm proud of it. Care to join me in a ball, sir?
Not while I'm on duty.
Ah, that's very good. Our new avocado flavor. Yes, I've kept the Bay Area chewing for 20 years. And I will not be swerved from my purpose.
Bully.
I intend to fight them tooth and nail. Hammer and tongs. To the last ditch.
Bravo.
But I'll need help. That's why I've come to you. My competitors, Mr. Spade, are leaving no stone unturned in their contemptible campaign to drive me out of business. Now they've resorted to outright sabotage. In short, they have hired hoodlums to destroy my gumball machines. They've already smashed 11, and they won't be content until they've demolished my entire equipment.
Sounds like a police case to me, Mr. Eagle.
No, I've been to the police. No, they don't understand my problem. Gave me a lot of double talk about juvenile delinquents. Ha, my foot. Cutthroat competition.
You're sure of that?
Well, what would you think? If theft were their motive, they most certainly would steal the pennies from the machines, but what do they take? My gumballs. And why do they do that?
I'll buy it.
Oh, well, by all means. Oh, here, try this. It's our bestseller in Chinatown. We call it Subgum.
Better not. I have to drive later.
Now, I had the foresight to buy up a 3-year supply of chewing gum at non-inflation prices.
So I see.
Well, you can see with what thoroughness they encompass my ruination. They are not only smashing my machines, they're making off with my gum.
And you want me to try and stop them?
No, I do not. No. I want you to catch them in the act and find out who is paying them.
Well, okay, Mr. Eagle. I'll see what I can do.
Good. Now, in this envelope is a list of my machines and their exact locations, together with a check for your retainer.
Thank you, Mr. Eagle. I'll keep in touch with you. Mr. Eagle, I meant to ask you, how many of these gum machines do you operate here in town?
300.
Mm-hmm.
And guard them well.
300? 300 nuts.
300 nuts, Sam?
No, 300 gums. Gumball machines.
Sam, isn't it wonderful you took this job? I mean, because of my penny card.
I'm sorry if I wasn't listening.
My penny card, Sam. My new one, that is. I've already completed my Lincoln series, and now I'm collecting Indian heads.
Scalps?
No, Sam, pennies. You see, this is the card. And these little slots you see right there, that's where you put the pennies. And they're classified according to the date and the mint where they're manufactured. Now, you see, Sam, where the little S is on these? Now, that's for the San Francisco mint. And the D, that's for Denver.
Figures.
And the ones with nothing, that's for Washington, D.C.
Yeah, well, it's a very nice hobby. Pardon me. 300 gumball machines.
You see, that's what I had in mind, Sam. All those pennies. Indian head pennies are scarce, Sam. You have to go through a lot of pennies to find even one. Honestly, sometimes when I go past one of those penny machines, that's all I can do. Oh.
F, this is all right between you and me, but don't ever mention your hobby to Mr. Eagle.
No, I won't.
Riddle me this, sweetheart. How does one detective guard 300 gumball machines scattered all over the city?
Well, if they're going to smash all of them, you could just pick out one in the middle and somewhere and wait.
No good. If it's an organized plan of sabotage, there might be some pattern. You seem to have given this some thought, though, Effie. How would you pick them?
In the busy places where they'd have more pennies.
But they're not after the pennies. They take the gum.
Well, then maybe the quiet sections where they don't sell much gum.
Well, they've knocked over 11 so far, here, there, and everywhere. Busy spots, dead spots. No pattern at all. You know, Effie, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. I wasn't sold on Mr. Eagle's theory that the caper was organized sabotage, but I decided to test it out anyway. I learned the operation did follow a pattern, unless it was coincidence that the 11 machines knocked over the previous night were the same 11 machines that had been refilled that afternoon. I checked with the Eagle Company's maintenance man and learned that only 5 had been refilled today. I picked the one that looked like the easiest to knock over. It was the one in the doorway of a darkened loft building near the Siemens Hiring Hall on Drum Street. At 9 p.m., I strolled down there. The block was deserted. I took a plant in the adjacent doorway and talked to myself until just before midnight. Then I shut up. My heart skipped a beat as she passed under the light. Red hair. My secretary? Then I noticed how she was dressed. Not on the salary I pay her. She paused before the gum machine, opened a large handbag, stripped off her long black gloves, dropped them in her purse, and took out a small Boy Scout-type hatchet. Went at it with the enthusiasm of Carrie Nation busting up a saloon. I edged around the doorway as she bent over the mess of pennies and gumballs at her feet. When she reached out her hand, I took one more step, and that was all. She was up on her feet, facing me, and I saw that hatchet sailing through the air straight at me. Hey!
Now see what you've done.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't let it happen again, I hope.
Well, don't just stand there. Let's get out of here. That noise, it'll bring the police down on us.
Yeah, you're right. No, not that way. The alley. And that's how I met you, Thelma, darling. Pausing only to pick up an Indian head penny for luck, I escorted you through the alley to Washington, up Washington's Salon, jogged through Front Street, and followed that to Market, where we entered the Happy Hour Bar and Grill by way of the kitchen. You proceeded unfalteringly to the darkest booth. We sat down and caught our breath. You ordered a pirate's dream. By the way, I did get that recipe. Lime juice, grenadine, passion fruit, a sprig of mint, and 6 jiggers of rum. After 2 swallows, I heard myself saying, now aren't you ashamed of yourself?
But, Sam, why should I be? After what I've been through, I think I deserve a drink.
I didn't mean that. I meant throwing that hatchet at me.
I thought you were Merle.
Who's Merle?
Why, he works for Mr. Chislehurst.
Yeah, that figures. Now tell me who Mr. Chislehurst is. Not who he works for, just who he is.
He was acting as my agent for the sale of the pearl.
Well, Natch. Look, please, don't make me say what pearl.
It's called the Black Pearl of Galila Bay. My brother brought it back from the South Pacific when he was in the war.
Oh, yes.
When he went to prison, he gave it to me to keep for him.
Uh-huh. So you decided to sell it?
I had no choice. I needed the money desperately to finance his appeal. It comes up next week.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't get that pearl back, I don't know what I'll do. You've got to help me.
What makes you think it's in a gumball machine?
Mr. Chislehurst took the pearl to show to a man named Junius Eagle, and that's when it disappeared. Mr. Eagle decided not to buy. And when Mr. Chislehurst returned to the hotel...
Eagle had found the pearl and substituted a ball of blackjack gum. Then what?
Mr. Chislehurst had Merle follow him. Nothing happened the first 2 days. But day before yesterday, he followed him to his warehouse and saw him drop a single ball of gum into a barrel of them that was waiting to be loaded onto a truck. The pearl must have been hidden in it. Why else would he do a thing like that?
Uh-huh. He would put a valuable pearl in a machine where anybody could buy it for a penny.
I suppose it'd be safe for a few days. I don't know how these machines work. Well, now you know why I had to break those machines.
Nuh-uh.
You don't believe me?
Mm-mm.
Well, what are you going to do?
Check the psycho wards and find out which one you escaped from. I'm looking over.
Hello?
Mr. Eagle?
Speaking.
Spade.
Oh, yeah, I just got in. I've been out making my monthly collection.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to talk to you. You're falling down on my job. Another of my machines.
Yeah, I know. Drum Street. I nailed the hoodlum.
Ah. Who's he working for?
Let me ask you one. Did a man named Chiselhurst ever try to sell you a black pearl? Hello, you still on the line? You stopped chewing.
Yes. I think you better come over to my house. Right away.
Hello. Hello. Nuts. When I came out of the phone booth, I wasn't surprised to find that you had flown the coop, darling, if I may call you by your last name. But I was surprised at what I found at my client's house. I rang the front doorbell and waited. Nothing happened. Then, through the glass door, I saw a man rush out on the landing at the top of the stairs. He half ran, half stumbled down the long flight to the entrance hall, yanked open the door, and tried to shove past me. I grabbed him.
Get out of my way.
Wait a minute.
Let go. I got to get a doctor.
You're bleeding.
No, not me. I've got to get a doctor.
Why don't you phone?
They ripped the wires out. Now let go or it'll be your fault if he dies.
I memorized his mug, lifted his wallet as we unclinched, and let him go. On the way upstairs, I checked his ID cards. Higgins, Morris L., employer, Eagle Vending Machine Company, occupation, maintenance supervisor. On the floor of a room at the top of the stairs was quite a sight. The floor of the room was covered almost completely with pennies. In the middle of it, sprawled forward like a miser who had been attacked while counting his hoard, was Junius J. Eagle. The wound in the back of his neck could have been caused by a small hatchet. There was a bookkeeper's account sheet open across the desk, and scrawled across the neat rows of figures there were 3 words: Spade, Quarter, and Eagle.
The United States Armed Forces Radio Service is presenting the weekly adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. And now, back to the Quarter Eagle Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
That you, Higgins?
Yeah.
Save yourself the trip upstairs. There's nothing you can do for him.
Oh, dead, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he won't need that doctor I called.
We can use one anyway. Did you tell the doc Eagle had been stabbed?
Yeah, sure I did.
Yeah, well, that means the law will come with him or ahead of him.
But I don't get it. He must have been killed for the money, but why didn't they take the pennies?
They should have. It'd look better for you if they had.
You're that detective-y hired, huh?
That's right. Now, look, Higgins, we haven't got much time. If you want to find out who killed your boss, spill everything you know to me now, before the cops get here. Because they're going to hold you, and they'll hold me, too, if they find me here.
But I don't know a thing, Spade. I just found him like that.
How did you get in the house?
I have a key. He gave me one, so when I came here to pick up the pennies, he wouldn't have to come all the way down to let me in.
For now, tell the cops the door was open. Did he always collect the pennies from the machines himself?
Yeah, he was a coin collector as a hobby. He liked to go through them and save out the odd ones.
You always pick up the money at 1 in the a.m.?
Oh, no. No, he called me tonight a little past midnight, and he asked me to come right over. Hey, look, you gotta believe that.
I do. He said the same thing to me. What do you know about a man named Chiselhurst?
Hey, wait a minute. That's the name of the guy that ran into my truck yesterday coming down the California incline near Grant. He slammed right into the rear of my truck. I tangled with his chauffeur, some punk kid.
Named Merle?
Yes, that's what they called him. And there was a dame in the car, too, a redhead.
Any report on the accident?
No, the cop took it down on the beat there. There wasn't no damage.
Sounds like we haven't got much more time here.
Oh.
What exactly happened the night the first gum machine on your route was smashed up? Come on.
Well, first off, I went to a bowling alley on Turk Street and removed our machine there. It was discontinued.
Wait a minute. Where did you take it? Back to the shop?
Oh, wait a second. I got it here in my book.
Come on.
All right, I'm hurrying. Here it is, 11864.
Mm-hmm.
No, I exchanged it for an out of order down on Drum Street.
Did you leave the pennies in it?
Oh, sure. They only get collected once a month.
How much gum was in it?
About half full. I didn't refill it until today.
Yeah. What's your system on the refill operation?
Well, I carry about 4 extra machines in the truck. When I go to fill a machine, I take one of the extras already filled out of the truck and trade for the empty.
Yeah.
Then I fill the empty one in the truck, and that saves me from carrying the bag around. Now, is there anything else I can tell you?
Yeah.
Huh?
Does Quarter Eagle mean anything to you?
No.
Okay, now where's the back door? That Quarter Eagle. What was it? Was it a wrestling hole like the Half Nelson? I thought of asking Effie, but I was afraid she'd know. I was sure that if I could find Chiselhurst, I could get all the answers at once. That collision between his car and the rear end of Higgins' truck was a good lead in more ways than one. It meant that at least part of your story, darling, was true. But you neglected to tell me that you, Chiselhurst, and Merle had been tailing Higgins' appointed rounds of the gumball machines. I checked the police report on the accident. The car was registered in Great Britain. The report said transient, no local address, and so to bed. I dreamed it was next Thanksgiving, and I was eating a roast of quarter eagle. Then it turned into crow.
Good morning, sir. Do you wish to place a classified ad?
Good morning to you, madam. Indeed, I do.
Kindly write it on this blank.
Kindly read it off this blank.
Well, Quarter Eagle. Interested parties apply Sam Spade. Sutter 37596.
That's right.
That's 9 words, sir. I'll have to charge you for 3 lines anyway. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, but it's not fit to print. Barney's Beanery.
Mr. Spade?
Yeah.
You got it for sale, the Quarter Eagle?
Who's speaking?
I am speaking. Sergei Zacharias.
Zacharias.
You are numismatist?
No, this is Mr. Spade himself. Look, I'd like to talk to you personally. Where can I reach you?
Oh, I am by my shop, 2 doors from Belvedere Coffee Shop on O'Farrell Street.
Okay, Mr. Zacharias, I'll be right over.
Talk to you.
Why didn't you do more talking last night? My client might be alive if you had.
Oh, it's terrible. But how could I have known?
You knew about the Quarter Eagle. Why did you spin that yarn about the pearl?
How did you find out about it?
Dead men sometimes do tell tales.
Surely you don't think that I had anything to do with that?
He was only hacked to death with a hatchet like the one you threw at me. That makes you look fine.
All right, I killed him, if that'll make you listen to me. Sam, don't go into that shop.
Please, it's
a
a new
trap.
suit.
You don't know that man Zacharias. He's the cause of all our troubles.
You mean he sold you that hatchet?
Sam, please!
Quit clawing me. Let go.
I won't allow you to go in there. I won't.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? What's the occasion of the squabble? Oh, well, no, it's Mr. Spade.
Yeah, Clancy, this dame here just tried to pick my pocket.
Ah, pickpocket, is it? Glory be, and such a pretty one, too.
Never mind that, Clancy. Just have it locked up. I'll be down later to prefer charges.
Come on.
Hello? Anybody home?
Okay, chums. Just keep on walking. Straight through the back room. One move and I rip you wide open.
Yeah, better not, Merle. Your boss might not like that.
Smart guy. Knows everybody's name.
Ah, my dear sir. A most propitious meeting. You've brought the Quarter Eagle?
Where's Zacharias?
He's resting at the moment in yonder closet. Oh, no, not dead. Merely under restraint. Bound and gagged. A necessary precaution. Well, shall we talk turkey, or rather, eagle?
Tell your punk to take that knife out of my ribs.
Who's a punk?
Now, Merle. There's been quite enough violence.
Check. I think I'll take that knife. Leave it there. Now sit down.
Merle. Oh, headstrong boy. Now, as to the Quarter Eagle. I'm willing to pay a reasonable reward for its recovery. But first I must tell you that Miss Darling, for whom I'm acting as agent for the sale of the coin, is indeed the legal owner, despite anything Mr. Zacharias may have told you to the contrary. What would you say to $500?
I would say no dice.
1,000?
I would say I'm still listening.
Sir, you seem to exaggerate the value of that tiny gold piece.
It was worth one human life to somebody. That sounds like more than $1,000 to me.
You may find the market valuation of that particular mintage of the Quarter Eagle in my coin catalog. $10,000. But, sir, that valuation is based upon the mistaken belief that there were only 2 in existence. It was while rummaging in her grandmother's attic that Miss Darling came upon a third. When she brought it to me, I could scarcely credit it. It was matter of official record that 2 specimens had been stamped out when the die broke. And then it came to me. There must have been a third. Namely, the coin which was in that rude stamping press when the die broke. Closer examination of the Quarter Eagle, now in your possession, revealed certain markings.
Yeah.
Some defective feathers in the war bonnet on the obverse. And a cleavage in the numeral 4 of the date, 1841.
Yeah, all right. So how much is it worth?
Well, as I say, the price last paid was $10,000. I think we may safely assume it would bring several times that amount in today's market. But only, mind you, if but 2 specimens, not 3, are in existence.
So you decided it would be more profitable to clam up about it and see what the owners of the other 2 coins would pay to keep this one off the market.
Precisely, sir.
How did it get in that gum machine?
Therein lies the tale.
Keep it short, will you? I'm getting hungry.
Well, sir, I brought the quarter eagle to Mr. Zacharias.
Yeah.
Who was acting as agent for the owner of the other 2 coins. An Australian sheep herder, I believe. Retired now.
Yes, I'm glad.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, Mr. Zacharias' offer was so poor that I took umbrage.
Oh, you didn't?
I gave him a caning and left the premises.
Really?
But I'd gone no farther than half a league up Turk Street when I became aware that 2 ruffians were skulking at my heels.
No.
Sent, I had no doubt, by Mr. Zacharias to rob me of the quarter eagle.
Egad, sir.
Precisely. Knowing full well that they would not dare to strike in a populous, well-lighted resort,
yes.
I entered a bowling alley at the corner of Hyde Street. No pun intended.
Thank you for that, sir.
But there upon the wall I spied a penny vending machine, and the word eagle caught my eye. Association of ideas, no doubt.
No doubt.
But that, sir, is how I came to put the quarter eagle into Mr. Eagle's gum machine.
Yes, I think I can take it from there. When you went back, the machine had been taken out by the Eagle Company's maintenance man, right?
Not quite. I caught him in the very act of removing the machine and followed him out of the building.
Yeah, but then you lost track of the machine. I found out why. Never mind that now. What I want to know is who followed Mr. Eagle home the night he was killed?
I'd rather not say.
Then all bids are off.
One moment, Mr. Spade.
Yeah?
Am I to infer that your price for the quarter eagle necessarily includes bringing the murderer to justice?
Just that, Mr. Chislehurst.
Well, I suppose there's nothing for it but to make the supreme sacrifice. Merle.
Me? You double-crossing pig?
Now, Merle, you know perfectly well you did away with poor Mr. Eagle.
Shut up! I'll cut you to pieces.
Gross insubordination. You deliberately exceeded your instructions. I wanted you to apply only sufficient violence to recover the coin. Instead, you seized the opportunity to satisfy your nauseating bloodlust. Really, Merle?
Cut you to pieces. I'll cut you to pieces.
All right, drop the shiv, Merle. Knock that, you punk.
Egad, that was a near thing, sir. The base ingratitude of that boy. Oh, well, what's done is done. When may I expect delivery of the quarter eagle?
I didn't answer him. To cover my embarrassment, I gagged him, manacled him to Merle, and delivered the package marked 1 murderer, 1 accessory to the dumbfounded minions of the law. And that, Thelma, darling, I regret to inform you, is still the crop. After I'd sprung you from the pokey, I got hold of Higgins, and we went through every coin out of every Eagle gumball machine in the city of San Francisco. It couldn't happen, but it did. Your quarter eagle is, shall we say, no place. Period. End of report.
Sam, I'm disappointed in you.
Well, so am I, sweetheart.
But I'll forgive you if you found even 1 Indian head penny from my penny card.
Yeah, just 1 from that machine on Drum Street.
Oh, Sam.
There you are, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you. And it's an old one.
And no older than I feel. Go type that up.
Sam, this money, it's counterfeit.
Are you sure?
It's joke money. It says $2.50. You see where it should say 1 cent? $2.50.
Let me see that. $2.50. If an eagle is a $10 gold piece, what is a $2.50 gold piece?
Oh, now, let me see. $5 would be half. Sam.
Right. A quarter eagle. Yep, that's just dirt on it, see? It's gold, really.
Oh, look at it shine.
Like the stars in your eyes, sweetheart.
Oh, you darling. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education. The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Very funny. Certainly took you long enough.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Well, do you like them? My curls?
I guess so. It's your own hair, I trust.
Oh, yes, Sam. When it's brushed out, you'll never know anything happened.
Whenever you're ready, Curly.
Oh, gee, you like it that well?
Yeah, very cute.
Well.
It's a business. To Detective Lieutenant Dundee, Homicide Detail, San Francisco Police, from Samuel Spade, license number 137596, subject the Bouncing Betty Caper. Dear Dundee. It all began on a Wednesday. My secretary, Miss Effie Perrine, tiptoed into my office and laid an engraved calling card on the desk in front of me. The name on it was Randall Carruthers. She said he looked like money, so I said, show her in. Or him in. She did.
Good morning, sir. Do you wish the morning paper?
Thanks, I've read it.
Dear me.
What's the matter?
This ashtray, sir. Have you a silent butler?
I don't even have a noisy one.
No. In all my years of service, it has been my constant endeavor to keep things neat and tidy, down to the smallest detail.
I see. Well, if it bothers you, just dump those butts into the wastebasket.
Very well, sir. If you will pardon the presumption, sir, you could use a well-trained servant in this establishment. Wastepaper baskets clean and empty at all times. Never allow refuse to accumulate.
That's not refuse. That's this month's bills.
So I noticed, sir. I also noticed that you have not opened them. From this, I conclude that your services are immediately available.
Yeah, and I conclude that in spite of your glad rags and fancy handle, you are somebody's butler.
Oh, that is correct, sir. I am first butler in the household of Dr. Mark McGraw.
First?
Yes. Bleakcliff is the name of the estate. It's near the village of Squid Beach, some 50 miles in a southerly direction on the Pacific coast.
You know, I think I'm going to like you as a client, Mr. Carruthers. I mean, it's refreshing to get a few accurate facts without, shall we say, priming the pump.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
To continue, not counting the staff, there reside at Bleakcliff 3 persons. Dr. McGraw, master of the house since the death of his wife, his stepson, Mr. Anthony McGraw, of whom more later, and Mr. Anthony's sister, Miss Cathy. It is on her behalf that I've come to you, sir.
What is her problem, Mr. Carruthers?
The correct form of address is Carruthers, sir, not Mr. Carruthers.
Check.
Yes, thank you, sir. Now, as to Miss Cathy's problem, sir, someone is attempting to murder her. Specifically, she has upon several occasions been shot at from ambush. Twice she has awakened in the night to feel the hands of an assailant closing about her throat. And only yesterday, she narrowly escaped death when her motor car went out of control owing to some blackguard tampering with the steering mechanism. And upon numerous other occasions...
That's enough. You have convinced me that she indeed has a problem. What do the local police think?
No one has been to the police, sir.
Why not?
It's a delicate situation, sir. Miss Cathy's brother, Mr. Tony, is undergoing treatment for... nervous disorders. The family did not wish to place him in an institution, and since Dr. McGraw, his stepfather, is a psychiatrist, he is allowed to remain at home.
I see. He's flipped. Where do I fit in, Carruthers?
Well, sir, if a reputable gentleman such as yourself were to come to Bleakcliff and witness these persistent attempts upon that girl's life, perhaps they could be forced to put the boy away where he belongs.
It's possible. I'm willing to try. For money.
Oh, splendid, sir, splendid. I took the liberty of drawing in your favor a draft upon the First National Bank of Squid Bay, 1 week's remuneration in advance of your services to the Bleakcliff estate in the capacity of chauffeur.
Chauffeur?
Yes, sir. I thought that might be a capital disguise. Have you a better suggestion, sir?
Well, no, that's okay. This check.
Yes, sir.
$200. It's a pretty big weekly salary for a chauffeur, isn't it?
Well, you will be allowed to shop for the vegetables, sir. Your cut has been added in.
I told him I didn't know one vegetable from another, that I was a lousy driver, and in more time than it takes to tell, I was installed at Bleakcliff in a room above the garage and told to wait there until summoned. I put on my pearl gray uniform with the brass buttons and leather puttees, looked in the mirror, and decided I had missed my calling, but not by much. Nothing happened for nearly an hour, and then I got my first buzz. Yeah, I mean, garage.
Phillips, the car, quickly. The main entrance. Keep your motor running. I have him locked in the living room, but he's breaking off.
Okay. Yes, miss. Let me see.
Get that door open. Open that door.
Why didn't you have the door open?
I'm sorry, miss.
Well, get going, please.
Darn it, miss. Where's the spark on this?
What's the matter with it?
Well, it's flooded. The house, you know.
He's got the meat cleaver again. Can't you get this door Tony!
Well, I'm trying.
Get out, I tell you! Get out! Stop it! Stop it! You're hurting him! No!
Fine. All right. Put it down, kid. Put it down. Come on. Give it to me.
What's going on?
Tony!
I say, who are you? Haven't you been instructed not to disturb my patient?
I'm sorry. I'm new here. When I saw him coming at Miss McGraw with that meat cleaver, I naturally thought
Oh, well, no harm done. Come along, Tony. Come along now. Come along, boy. We'll have a nice long talk.
What shall I do with it?
We'll put it back.
You all right?
Oh, sure. I should be used to it by now. By the way, you're new here, aren't you? What's your name?
Sam.
Sam? That's nice. Turn to the left outside the gate, Sam, and drive straight out to the shore road.
Well, if I can just... Hey, I just turned that little key. Look, Ma, I'm driving. I adjusted the rear view mirror so that it showed more of her and less of the rear view. A mile from the house, she ordered me to stop, moved up to the front seat with me, and asked me to drive on. By the time we got to the shore road, she was driving, and I was resting my head on her shoulder. Where are we going?
I've got a little hideaway down the coast. It's right on the beach, the foot of a tall cliff. There's a fireplace, a little bar, some records.
Got some bot?
It's wonderful there with the surf pounding outside, hidden away from the world. You feel so safe.
Don't stop.
You'll like it there. You feel as if there's no one else on earth. Time standing still.
Oh, if I could just be sure that Mother wouldn't worry about me.
You're impossible.
Okay, Kathy, I'll be serious. What's with that brother of yours?
Tony? I'd rather not talk about that if you don't mind.
Well, maybe I can talk about your stepfather. I really should know what kind of a man my boss is.
I go for these drives to forget all that. Please don't spoil it for me.
Okay, Kathy, okay.
Oh, please. The sharp turn into this driveway. Now, we get out here.
Yes, ma'am.
Down this path.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter? You afraid of high places?
Yeah, you just pushed me off of one.
Oh, Sam, don't be like that. You're pouting like a little boy. Come on, I want to show you my little house.
What's so special about your little house?
Oh, Sam. If you only knew what my life is like.
You only know what mine is like.
I need someone so much to talk to, Sam.
As long as you can steer the conversation, you mean.
Come on, Sam. I'll show you the house.
The path led to a flight of wooden steps that clung to the face of a sheer cliff. There was something like the stairs you find yourself falling down in nightmares. They dropped maybe 200 feet to a crescent of white sand.
Watch out for that one step. It's broken.
Yeah. You have to make your dream house this hard to get to?
Because of Tony. He has vertigo.
What?
When we were kids, he used to chase me, and I'd run down here, and he was scared to follow me. Afraid of heights. He still is.
Oh.
Well, you light us a fire, Sam. The wood's there in the box. I'll go make us a drink.
Fire? Who needs a fire? I'm hot.
What'd you do before you took up driving?
Oh, I was a private eye for a while.
Oh, how exciting.
Nah, it's a sour racket.
Tell me about it.
Nah. Let's talk about you.
Here's your drink.
Thanks.
Well, what do you want to know about me?
Know me? Come here. The scent she was wearing was 20 carat. But the story of her life was heavy melodrama. It seemed that Dr. McGraw, a handsome fortune hunter, was a folly of her mother's middle years. But she had come to her senses shortly before she died and cut him out of her will. But that was not the end of it. When Kathy's brother had been faced with the alternative of entering an institution or remaining at home under his stepfather's care, she had begged the doctor to remain in spite of his warnings that her brother might take a notion to kill her. But get this, Dundee, it's real deep. In spite of visible evidence to the contrary, she was convinced that her brother was not out to kill her, but that the doctor was. I couldn't sell myself on that part of the yarn, but she looked so awfully pretty while she was telling it. And suddenly, she didn't look so pretty. An expression of terror was on her face.
No!
Get down! I rolled her onto the floor and kicked the lamp out. By the glow of the embers in the fireplace, I could still see the gleam of the gun barrel shoved in through the broken window. I hoped he couldn't see so much. I knocked over a chair to give him something to shoot at. He was already halfway up the face of the cliff on those rickety wooden stairs. At the top, he turned and looked back.
Who was it? It was Mark, wasn't it?
The doctor? You know better than that. It was Tony. I thought you told me he was afraid of heights, couldn't come down those stairs.
He never did before. Don't you believe me?
Yeah, Kathy. I may wind up believing the rest of your story. I took Kathy back to Bleak Cliff and stashed her in my quarters over the garage. Then I went into the main house via the back stairs, found her room, and shook it down. In a cabinet, a bunch of war souvenirs, German helmets, grenades, rifles, and other lethal gadgets. In the desk drawer, I found a letter headed U.S. Army, Office of the Surgeon General. It certified that one Anthony McGraw was unfit for military service. Vertigo. Origin, childhood injury to middle ear. Downstairs in the library, I found a shelf of medical books. Vertigo. Vertigo was almost incurable, and there was certainly no quick cure. But some patients had lost their symptoms temporarily under hypnotism. Then it said, see narcosynthesis. I did.
Spade. I beg pardon, sir. Mr. Spade. Yeah, whatever are you doing in the butler's pantry, sir?
Looking for a butler. Namely you, Carruthers.
Oh. May I serve you, sir?
Yeah. How do I get an interview with Dr. McGraw?
Well, sir, Oh. Strange, after all my years of service, I still start at the master's summons. Hey.
You did it again.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. I'd better see what Dr. McGraw wants.
Forget it. I'm answering this one.
You're not going to drop your disguise, sir.
Why not? Who am I kidding, anyway? You rang, Dr. McGraw?
Eh? Oh, I didn't ring for you. I rang for Carruthers. I ordered him to tidy up my office while I was at dinner. And look at it.
Looks neat as a pin to me, Doctor.
Oh, yes, you're new here. Chauffeur, eh?
I'm only wearing his uniform. Here's my card.
Oh, detective, eh?
That's right, Doctor, and this one's just about ready to wrap up.
Well, you interest me. Go on.
I will. I think you've been trying to use that boy as a murder weapon against his sister.
Oh, and you call yourself a detective?
If you can call yourself a doctor, I guess I can. You've been treating him with narcosynthesis, haven't you?
Yes, that's right.
Hypnotic drug. While he's under it, you brief him on his activities for the day, and he follows through, including assaults with deadly weapons.
That would be possible with certain very suggestible patients, but I'm afraid impossible to prove.
I think I can prove it, Doctor. You shouldn't leave your textbooks lying around loose. I found out the only way Tony could have walked down that stairway to Kathy's beach house without falling would be temporary relief of his symptoms due to hypnotic suggestion. Unquote.
I see. What do you intend to do about this theory of yours?
What do you suggest?
You see this row of buzzers here on my desk?
Mm-hmm.
This one is for my secretary. This is to summon Carruthers, and when I press this buzzer, two of the most hideous plug uglies you've ever seen will rush into this office, beat you to a pulp, and dump you outside the front gate. That's what I think of your theory.
Buzz away, Doctor. I think I like them better than I do you.
As you wish.
From where I was on the other side of the room, I didn't know what had happened at first. All I saw was a lot of paper gushing out of the wastebasket. The doctor sure was dead. His midsection was perforated like a shower drain. And in the walls, fanning out around the end of the room, about a yard up from the baseboard, there was a straight line of holes. I dug into one. What I took out wasn't a bullet. It was a perfectly round steel ball. Then I remembered the wastebasket, the paper flying out of it just before the explosion. In the bottom of it, I found the answer. The base of a steel mechanism with German lettering on it. It was a wartime anti-personnel mine that the GIs called the Bouncing Betty.
The United States Armed Forces Radio Service is presenting the weekly adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade.
I didn't wait for the Squid Beach law to arrive. Who could? I went straight back to San Francisco. You, Lieutenant Dundee, were waiting at my office.
Morning, Sam.
Hello, Dundee.
About that McGraw killing, Sam. The chief down at Skid Beach has asked us to cooperate with the department down there at Skid Beach.
Squid Beach, Dundee.
That's right. They say you caught a bus at Skid Beach.
Squid.
That's right. At 1:45 in the company of a young woman answering the description of the McGraw girl.
They say that, do they?
They say they got a statement from that butler,
Carruthers.
Yeah, well, it's open and shut anyway. The butler hired you, the girl is wanted, and you're hiding her out. Why?
Why not?
Well, it's established that the girl hated the deceased and bickered with him constantly. The doctor and the boy were pals. That girl's guilty as...
You've been able to place her in the murder room?
Well, no, but here's an item. She worked with an Army ordnance during the war in research. Subject? I made a note of that. Enemy landmines, anti-personnel. One of the reports she helped put out was on the Bouncing Betty.
Yeah?
Definitely. Hey, where you going, Sam?
Sam, it's been so lonesome cooped up here all day.
Why didn't you tell me you were with Army ordnance during the war?
I don't know. I suppose it thought it was unfeminine or something.
Try again.
All right, I'll tell you the truth. I had a copy of that report with instructions for the operation of the Bouncing Betty in the desk in my room.
What the devil are you doing with a thing like that?
I don't know. I was proud of it. It was the only report I worked on with the general.
Should have got rid of it.
I did. I burned it in the fireplace as soon as I learned what had killed him.
You didn't burn it good enough.
Sam, they found it.
Yeah.
Have they arrested Tony?
Not yet, but he's definitely sane. He'll have to take the rap for anything he's done.
I see. Well, I guess there's no other way. Tony didn't do it, Sam. I did. I want to make a confession.
Not to me, please. Not to me.
After what happened down at the beach when I knew I was no longer safe anywhere, I realized I had to do it. For Tony's sake as well as mine. When we arrived back at the house, I looked into the dining room and I saw Dr. McGraw eating dinner. I knew it was my chance to get into his office.
Yeah? Then what?
Well, the Bouncing Betty was in my room. There was some wire in the tool chest, and I knew that Carruthers always went to tidy up while the doctor was at dinner. So I waited until I saw him come out, and then I went in. And I looked around for a place to plant it, out of sight. Then I saw the wastebasket full of paper. It was the perfect hiding place. The whole thing didn't take more than 5 minutes. Well, say something. Go on, say you hate me. Say it.
I don't. Wish I did.
Oh, Sam. Help me. Help me.
I'm sorry, baby. I am sorry. I don't know how long we sat there. I held her in my arms until she cried herself out, then we just looked at each other. I knew if I put it off another minute, I wouldn't call you at all, Dundee. So, with my arms still around her, I reached for the phone.
Homicide.
Lieutenant Dundee, this is Sam Spade.
Lieutenant Dundee. Hello? Hello?
Give me that. Lieutenant, this is Captain McGraw. I wish to make a full confession in the murder of my stepmother.
I walked out while she was still talking to you, Dundee. I knew she'd wait for you, and I didn't want to be there when you took her away. As I walked over to my office, everything she'd said kept coming back to me. I could see her sneaking into her brother's room and getting that contraption out of the cabinet. I could see her hiding behind the door until Carruthers came out after tidying up McGraw's office, dumping ashtrays, emptying wastebaskets. And that's as far as I got. I went back to my office to wait. And sure enough, 20 minutes after the papers hit the streets with Kathy's confession, the door opened and he came in.
Well, sir, I believe it's turning a bit raw out of doors. Gardner was saying only this morning that we should order out some shrouds for the Sapiglosa Sinuata. Am I discommoding you, sir?
No, Carruthers, I've been waiting for you.
With your permission, sir, the ashtray.
Just dump it in the wastebasket.
Well, I am gratified to note that your secretary has been looking after things and has emptied your waste paper basket. This is right and proper.
Quite.
Yes, sir. And, speaking of waste paper baskets...
Allow me, Carruthers. You have come to apprise me of your part in the death of the late Dr. McGraw. Am I in error?
You've already divined my purpose, sir. Yes, it was I who placed that infernal machine.
In the wastebasket, Carruthers, yes, I know.
It struck me as a bit of poetic justice that the buzzer, which that dreadful man used as a symbol of his despotism, should be the instrument of his own destruction.
I'm sorry, Carruthers. I'll do all I can.
No need, sir. No need. I'm aware that there is no final justification for taking the law into one's own hands. Every man is entitled to trial by jury of his peers. But where, Mr. Spade, where could be found 12 good men and true who would allow themselves to be called the peer of that monster, Dr. McGraw?
Period. End of report.
Sam! There must be some mistake.
Mistake, Effie? Mistake? No?
Well, the butler can't be guilty. That's old-fashioned.
He was an old-fashioned butler, sweetheart. Where today can you get help like that? Somebody who empties the ashtrays, keeps the wastepaper baskets clean, tidies up around the place.
Well, I'd be only too happy to do the same for you, Sam.
I know you would, doll.
Considering what happened to Mr. Carruthers' employer,
Effie, you mustn't allow your mind to dwell on such matters. It's wicked.
Sam! Who emptied an ashtray in that wastebasket that I just finished cleaning out?
Pay it no heed, sweetheart. I'll buy you a silent butler. I'll go type that up.
Here it is, Sam. I hope I haven't made any mistakes. I'm in such a hurry.
Whatever did you do to your hair?
Well, I brushed it out, Sam.
What happened to the pin curls?
I told you, Sam, when it was brushed out, it wouldn't be noticeable.
Hours of torture sitting under a hot dryer for something nobody will notice.
But, Sam, it puts bounce in your whole makeup.
I get it. The bouncing Effie caper.
Oh.
Eyeshadow, new shade of lipstick. You look real gone.
Oh, no.
Whom is it tonight?
Well, it's his friend of Maud, Sam. Of course, she's not really serious about him, so it's all right.
Your conscience bothering you?
Oh, no, Sam, no. He's definitely not serious about her. I mean,
Well, have fun, sweetheart, while Maud burns.
Oh, well, she won't. I suppose you'll be seeing that girl, what's her name? Oh, yes, Kathy.
Well, at least if I'm not playing in someone else's garden.
No. Well, have fun anyway. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Dove. Lorene Tuttle is Effie.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Private Detective, is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Date, fill it in. To Detective Lieutenant Dundee, Homicide Detail, San Francisco Police, from Samuel Spade, license number 127596. Subject, the Betrayal in Bumpass Hell. Red Gillis was a raw-boned poke from the border country. He was a stranger to Bumpass Hell, but he was no stranger to trouble. He jogged his Pinto down the narrow main street, not liking what he saw, and reined up in front of the sheriff's office. He dismounted and slapped the trail dust off his Levi's. Then he hitched up his gun belt and ambled inside. He looked at the heavy-shouldered, blue-jowled man behind the desk, and he didn't like what he saw. Neither did the sheriff, Rance Blaggett. State your business. I can do it better than that. State your business and get out, he snarled. Red smiled thinly and drawled, I'm looking for my brother. And what be your name outside of Red? Here, I can do that better than that. And what be your name outside of Red? Red Gillis's hand slid toward one of the six-shooters as silently as the sun coming up over the butte. Gillis, he sneered. Red Gillis from the Tonto Rim. That's pretty good. The sheriff's muscles tightened like steel springs and pulled him erect. Ain't no Tonto Rimmer welcome hereabouts in Bumpass Hell, he cursed. That was real good. And then the slap of 4 hands on leather was followed by the simultaneous roar of 4 6-guns. Hey, wait a minute. The sheriff...
I know they're in there.
Well, who is it? The sheriff is just...
Mr. Spade. Miss Kelly next door.
Right in the most exciting part.
Mr. Spade, now see here. I won't take no for an answer. It wouldn't be neighborly.
What is it, Mrs. Kelsey?
Never you mind. Come along. What are you up to here, anyway?
Who, me? Oh, nothing. I'm just relaxing with an apple and a good book, that's
Don't
all.
see no apple, and the only reading matter I see is some Western trash.
Trash?
Now, come on. There's trouble on the third floor.
Well, there's trouble in Bumpass hell.
Don't you swear at me.
I'm not-
I know my duty, and I know your duty. Now, come on. Get moving.
Ouch! Okay, let go my ear. And that, Dundee, so help me, is how it started. Effie had just read a book called How to Relax, and it said there that Western stories were relaxing, and that's how I happened to be at home at 10 p.m., writing Herd on a copy of Sheriff and Outlaw, rip-roaring adventures of the Old West. But Bumpass hell hath no fury like my neighbor, Mrs. Kelsey. I left Red Gillis and the sheriff face to face and vice versa, eyes flashing and guns ablaze, and followed her meekly up to the third floor.
Shut up, you cry and shut me up, you big fool. You sorry to hear that. Been at it for 3 hours they have. Won't be a stick of furniture left in the room, less than there's top.
You speak to them?
Did I speak to them? You see this lump? No, here, under my transformation.
Oh, well, why didn't you call a cop?
Well, it wouldn't be neighborly. It's me that did. You see this lump?
Yeah, you showed it to me. Put your wig back on. I'll see what I can do.
And tell them about my lump. It's evidence.
Yeah, put it back. Hey, open up.
I would not go back with you if you was the last man on the desert island.
Hey, open up.
Have it your own way. If I catch you with that square again, I'll take your head off.
You had, you boy, you rotter, you cheap grifter, you.
Well, you slam out of here before I'm forced to seek the assistance of a couple of flashy. Do not try anything fancy behind my back, you big slob. From now on, you and me is strictly on the cool beatie.
Well,
you on principle, rat. Hey, let go of me.
Don't throw
Hand me your... Hey, wait a minute. Don't I remember you from someplace?
No, I'm only being neighborly. Why did you beat up on kind, nice Mrs. Kelsey?
That is a gross falsehood. I did not lay a hand on the old wag. It was that odious stinker, Joe Donegan, who was just left. And you can tell him, as from me, that I'm extremely unimpressed with his cheap threats to rub me out, and that I intend to continue on seeing Mr. Hobson or any other Johns which I care to.
That's pretty good singing.
Oh.
Well, you better tell him that yourself. I don't imagine I'll be seeing him.
You won't? Hey, wait a minute. Who are you, anyway?
Just another tenant. I live downstairs.
Oh, well, now I recall whom you are. You are that Seamus, which lives on the second floor rear.
Shamus, we call it in the radio.
Seamus, would you care to come in and discuss a certain matter?
Well, thanks. Another time. I got to get back to Bumpass hell.
Whoever she is, let her cool her heels for a few moments.
No, you don't understand. Bumpass
This is
hell.
an urgent matter which I would like to hash over right now and without further delay.
Well,
May I invite you in for a straight slug?
Well, okay, but just one. In a glass.
All right, make yourself comfy. Oh, now, say when.
Just up to the lipstick mark.
Here you are. Well, now to make a long story short, Mr. Spade, my name is Rosemary Fell, which remains my stage name, notwithstanding the circumstance that I am legally married to that barnacle which has just dusted this joint. Now, being as you are in the detective business...
Now, wait a minute.
Kindly permit me to finish, honey.
Sorry, sweetheart.
I'm not the type to jaw about my troubles just to pass the time of day.
I'm sure you know.
I am an actress.
I knew that.
And although I'm low in funds, due to being between jobs right now, on account of that knothead making a scene in the last joint at which I worked... Cheap ginger ale. Just to show you how the breaks fall, Mr. Spade, Belita Wilkerson, who just happens to be about the biggest talent agent in this city, if you have the time,
I'm impressed.
phoned me on the telephone, and arranged an audition. She also advanced me the sum of 100 clams.
100?
Which I will pay you to put the bee on that dog, Joe Donegan, the rat.
Now, which is he? What do you mean, put the B on him?
Listen, Sam, that grifter has got a record as long as my arm. And what I have got on him is longer than his arm.
Please.
In short, I should like him thrown into the can so that I can feel safe to sing on him.
Look, Rosemary, so you had a fight with Joe. You're sore. You want to pay him off. Now,
Right.
why don't you just wait until morning and see how you feel
Sam,
then?
listen to me. If that knuckle duster remains at large, I will be feeling no pain. Now, I know that from my flamboyant manner, you'd never guess it. But that is only the actress in me. In actuality, that flea intends to do me in.
Oh, now, come, Rosemary.
What? You disagree?
Well, now, really, Rosemary.
Why, you big pain in the neck.
Rosemary.
Drinking my... Pour that back in the bottle. Go on, put it back in the bottle.
Well, I'll be going now. Only trying to be neighborly. Well, back to Bumpass hell. Rance Blaggett, the smoking Colt still gripped in his hairy fists, suddenly pitched forward like a fallen Joshua tree at Red Gillis's feet. Red leaned over with a thin smile playing at the corners of his mouth, not liking what he saw, and lifted the badge off of Bladgett's cowhide vest and pinned it on his own. Bumpass Hell had a new sheriff. Hey. Then I heard it. It sounded like a man sneaking up a fire escape. I went over to the window, raised it, and looked up. I didn't like what I saw. An overcoated figure reached the third-floor landing and stood silhouetted against the lighted window of Rosemary's apartment. He was about the height and weight of that rat, Joe Donegan. By the time I'd rolled out the window onto the fire escape, his right hand had come out of his coat pocket. Donegan! Donegan, watch it! He was a floor ahead of me, and I didn't want to get too close to him until I passed that lighted window. He made the roof just as I crossed in front of it. The flashes from his revolver told me that. They also told me he had 2 slugs left to throw at me. The only light up there was a feeble glow from the skylight, dead center. I headed for the cover of a brick chimney just to the left of it. I had 2 things in mind. The skylight was his most logical avenue of escape, and I hoped I could tease him into emptying his gun at me. It didn't work. I stuck my head out. No shots. But he did use his gun. I should have stood in Bumpass Hell.
The United States Armed Forces Radio Service is presenting the weekly adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade.
What did that rat do to you, the dog? Sam, speak to me. Here, come on.
Send an Indian to Sutter's Mill. Tell the governor the sheriff of Bumpass Hell is turning in his bag.
Listen, honey, you've got to pull yourself together. Now, come on. These delirious Trumans will get us no place now. Come on, Sam.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Come on, now. Now, do not rush things, honey. That was quite a clip he gave you.
Yeah, where were you?
I was combing my hair out of the window.
Yeah, and he was on the fire escape, not 4 feet away. Not a very good shot, is he?
No, he isn't. Oh, Sam, look at your poor little head. Here, now, let me kiss it and make it well. Wild root.
Yeah, see how it gets me ahead socially and on the job?
Well, now, what next, Sam?
Rosemary, I am going to the top now. My dander is up. Let's have a moment of silence while I put through a call to Lieutenant Thomas Dundee of Homicide. It took your boys less than an hour to locate Joe Donegan and haul him in, Lieutenant. Rosemary's charges were not enough to hold him on attempted murder, and all I could identify was the back of his neck. But you were good enough to bag him anyway, so Rosemary and I could relax. I went downstairs to bed and started Chapter 4. Aha. Red Gillis didn't trust Curly Mallard, the foreman of the Crooked S. Aha. Unique Garage, Harry speaking.
Sam, this is Dundee.
Yeah, Dundee. What time is it?
8:30.
In the morning?
Yeah. Huh? Oh, yeah, it's daylight. Say, about that, what was his name?
Donegan?
Anyway, that fellow we booked last night on your say-so.
Well, what about him?
That was a bad beef, Sam. How come?
You better tell me.
Man was alibied, Sam.
When did that happen?
Well, a fellow named, got it written down here, Hobson. Warner Hobson says Donegan was with him at the time.
Who else says so?
Hobson's word's good enough for the commissioner. Ran for assembly once.
Did you know he also ran for Donegan's wife?
You don't say. Well, that's a real puzzler, Sam.
The human mind is unpredictable, Dundee.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Well, I hope you figure it out, Sam.
While I was shaving, I thought and thought. I wondered what Red Gillis would have done if such a situation had cropped up in Bumpass Hell. A thin smile began to play around the corners of my mouth as I climbed the stairs to Rosemary's apartment. When I got there, I didn't like what I saw. It was a note pinned to the door. It said, "Dear Sam, I have been called to do another audition. If anything crops up, you can reach me at Greystone 34292.
The Belita Wilkerson Talent Agency?
I want to speak to Rosemary Fell. Hello?
Yes, I'm still on the line. Who's calling, please?
Sam Spade.
I'm sorry, Mr. Spade. Miss Fell can't come to the phone.
Who's in charge there?
This is Miss Wilkerson speaking.
Yeah, well, why can't she come to the phone?
She's in the middle of her audition.
Well,
Is there any message?
yeah. Tell her Donegan's out and it's Hobson's choice.
Yes?
Mr. Hobson?
Yes?
My name is Spade.
Oh, yes, Mr. Spade. Come in.
Why did you phony up that alibi for Rosemary's husband, Mr. Hobson?
Huh? Oh, because I knew he's not the man who fired those shots at her.
Were you there?
As a matter of fact, I was. Would you like to hear about it?
I would.
Well, first, I'd better tell you a little about myself. Now, for the past year, I've been interested in politics. If I do say so myself.
Yes, I know. You ran for assembly. Come to the point.
Well, in a way, this is the point. My wife's a professional woman, and her own career keeps her busy a good deal of the time. Well, like the movie magazines say, a clash of careers and so on. That's how I happened to take up with Rosemary. I didn't know she was married. And, of course, when I found out, I dropped her like a hot potato. Potato. And then she started blackmailing me. Did you know about that?
I still don't.
Well, I think I can convince you.
Go ahead.
Well, I received a series of threatening phone calls from Rosemary. And I finally decided to go to Donegan and tell him the whole story. Oh, he was as mad as a wet hen.
Wet hen?
Well, he said he'd stop her. And I believed he was the right man to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last night he phoned me. He said he'd had a little caucus meeting with her and assured me I'd had no more trouble. But no sooner had I hung up that phone when she called again, making another outrageous demand. I decided then and there to take things into my own hands. So happens I'm a crack shot. And I knew that I could come close enough to frighten her without actually hurting her.
You were laboring under a false impression.
Huh? Oh, yes. Well, you believe me now?
Up to a point.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I have for you, Mr. Spade.
Well, I have something for you.
What's that?
Look up here. You see this bruise in my head?
Oh. Well, all in the game, you know.
Touché.
Now, hold it. I only...
Lie still. I'll get it. Yeah?
This is Rosemary again.
Listen,
now,
I want to talk...
Listen to me, you cheap ward healer. If you don't have that dough for me tonight, I will have no other recourse but to smear your fat puss all over the front pages.
Yeah, look, Rosemary...
And I am just the individual to do that. You may think you are a wolf in sheep's clothing, but in my opinion, you are nothing but a worm.
Yeah, well, look...
Goodbye, you rat. And rat.
Hey, Rosemary. Hello. Nuts.
Oh, wait a minute, Spade. Well, what did she say?
You can read it in my report, along with a bill for my services.
No, I'm so sorry she isn't in. You do that, sugar. Hello there.
Likewise.
Are you talent or just interested?
I could be. In the meantime, is Rosemary Fell still here?
Did she have an appointment today?
Yes, honey. I called this morning. She was here then.
You must be mistaken, darling. The office didn't open till noon today.
Yeah. Could I talk to Miss Wilkerson?
She isn't here just now.
Oh,
she never gets in till 1.
Not until 1.
She's over at KQW cutting a transcription for our new show, Goal of the Golden Gate. Oh, no. I mean, Gale of the Golden Goat.
Don't you mean Gale of the Golden Gate?
That's it. Girl of the Golden Gate.
You said it, and I'm glad.
Well, anyway, she isn't here.
Oh.
Good morning, Maggie. Any calls for me?
Oh, yes, Miss Wilkerson, your husband... Oh, Miss Wilkerson, I was telling this gentleman you weren't here.
Obviously, I am. Did you have an appointment?
I talked to you on the phone this morning. Spade.
Oh, Rosemary's friend.
Well, you might.
She'll be out in a moment. What a distressing business that was last night. Rosemary tells me you saved her life.
Well, that's a slight exaggeration. In fact, the whole thing was a mistake.
Oh, really? I understood that... Oh, here she is. Rosemary, here's your friend.
Sam, I ever glad to see you.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Plenty.
Oh. Well, thanks loads, Miss Wilkerson. I hope the recording is better on this one.
I'm sure it is, Rosemary. We'll call you when the client makes up his mind.
Oh, well, thanks again. Come on, Sam.
Goodbye, Mr. Spade.
Goodbye.
Sam, what is this new development that appears to be griping you?
Why didn't you tell me you were shaking Hobson down?
Uh-huh. And who's been feeding you this pile of gross falsehoods?
Look, Rosemary, you may be an actress, but with me, your audition is over, and you did not get the part.
And just what are your future intentions in regards to me?
None whatsoever. I'm sorry I ever met you, and I'm going back to Bumpass hell. I went back to the office, swiveled my chair into a comfortable position, opened the February number of Sheriff and Outlaw to page 112, Betrayal in Bumpass Hell, Chapter 5, Stampede. It was disappointing. There was a lot of stuff about bawling cattle and dust clouds and Flo and Curly standing on top of a butte, not liking what they saw, when somebody yelled, Stampede. Red Gillis was riding ahead of the cattle, and his horse stepped into a chuck hole, and he'd sprained his ankle. Red of the horse, it didn't say which. But Red was lying prostrate in the path of the avalanche of tossing horns, not liking what he saw. Hold it a minute. Let's see. Continue on page 113. Learn to be a private... hello?
Spade, this is Hobson. Come out here right away. Something terrible has happened.
Such as?
Rosemary is here, and I think she's dead.
In here, Spade. Oh, I don't know how she got in. Oh, yes, I do remember I must have left the door unlocked.
Where were you?
Why, I just stepped out to get some cigarettes.
Did you prove it?
Why, no, I'm afraid not. I got halfway and found I didn't have any money and came back.
You came back, walked through this room, went in the bedroom, and didn't see the body until you started back?
Yes, the lights were off. I stumbled over it.
This is the gun?
Yes. She did it with my own gun. Oh, I never dreamed her love for me would drive her to self-destruction. Of course, now it's clear what really lay behind her poor, clumsy effort to blackmail me. It was a desperate move to get me back. Oh, I'll never forgive myself for driving that poor girl to this.
Don't worry about that, Hobson. This isn't suicide.
Murder? Oh, great heavens. What will Belita say?
Belita?
Yes, my wife.
Belita Wilkerson?
Professional name, you know. I was explaining to you before that... Oh, that's my wife now. What in the world will I tell her?
Never mind, I'll get it. Hello?
This is Rosemary for the last time. And I'm just calling to tell you that you have stalled around too long. I have talked to your wife and told her the whole sordid pitch. Why she wants you back, I will never know. But I sold you cheap, and you weren't worth a cent more. I am a girl who does not like to do things halfway, but you were just too late. Goodbye, you fathead.
Yeah, Rosemary, I guess we were all too late. I called you, Dundee, and then, like the rat I am, made off with your prize suspect before you and your boys from Homicide arrived. We arrived at the Belita Wilkerson Talent Agency just as the boss was shutting up shop for the day. She had the recordings under her arm. All right, Belita, I'll take those.
Well, what are you... Warner! Mr. Spade!
Unlock the door, Belita. We're going back in.
Warner, why are you...
You'd better do as he says, Belita.
Well, all right, but...
Give me those keys.
I don't...
Inside, both of you. Where do you play these records?
The recording studio is just through there, but you can spare yourself the trouble. I admit I tricked Rosemary into recording those blackmail speeches and then played them back over the phone to Warner. If trying to hold on to my husband is a crime, then I'm a criminal.
Oh, now, Belita, my dear.
Come on, stop that. We gotta get busy. I phoned the Hobson house, and you were still there, Dundee. You said it was an open and shut case against Hobson, and to deliver him at once or kiss my license goodbye. But when I told you my diabolically ingenious scheme, you said yes, you'd be glad to, because it was a sure way of getting rid of me once and for all. It took us nearly 2 hours to get things ready in Belita's recording studio. We took the parts of Rosemary's so-called audition records that we thought would fit the occasion and dubbed them onto a single side. We played it back once. Then I phoned you at headquarters.
Homicide. Lieutenant Dundee.
Spade, Dundee. Everything's ready here. Did you pick up Donegan?
Oh, yeah. He's here. Donegan?
Hold on. Okay, Belita. Start the record when I give you the nod.
Yes, Mr. Spade.
I didn't say it, Donegan. That's for you.
Nice. Yeah, who's this?
This is Rosemary.
Huh?
I forgive you for everything, but there are some things I cannot forget. You
Rosemary,
lied.
it sounds like
We have meant a lot to each other, but after what you have done to me, it is time you paid through the nose.
Rosemary, I didn't mean it. When I followed you to his house and you went right in like you lived there, I just
you
went
have done
nuts.
to me, it is time you paid through the nose, you rat. I am a girl who does not like to do things halfway.
Listen, honey, you're not going to throw the book at me, are you?
I'm
glad to hear your voice. I thought you were
We
dead.
have meant a lot to
Okay,
each
kill
other.
it.
Rosemary, are you listening? Rosemary. Hey, no, she's still on the line. I want to talk to her.
Take him, Fullhouse.
Wait a minute.
Take him. Sam.
Yeah, Dundee.
Congratulations. That was a brilliant piece of work. Hey, Sam, you still on the line?
Yeah, I'll be all right, Dundee. I just fainted temporarily. Say it again, will you, pal?
Yeah, as I was saying, congratulations on a brilliant piece of work.
Well,
But I have never in all my years on the force heard of such a wild, insane, illegal, unethical, and downright cruel method of extorting a completion.
Thank you, Dundee. I feel better already. Period. End of report.
But Sam, what happened?
Effie, I thought I had made that abundantly clear.
No.
In order to discredit her husband's paramour, Belita gave her a come-on about an audition and had her play the part of a blackmailer reading lines from a script which she, Belita, had prepared, and thereupon proceeded to play said records over the telephone, well knowing that her husband would erroneously believe Rosemary to be a blackmailer in fact, and would drop her like a hot spud.
No, Sam, no, I don't mean
Don't interrupt. Oh. It was my inspiration, I, Sam Spade, to use Belita's fiendish device for a higher purpose.
No, Sam, no,
yes.
That is what I'm... No, Sam, I meant the Western story. Betrayal and Bumpass Creek.
It is not Crick, Effie.
You can't say H over the radio, Sam.
Oh, yes, you can. Bumpass Hell is the post office designation of a hamlet right here in California.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, what happened? Did Red Gillis ever find his brother?
I didn't quite finish, Ev. Go type that up, and I shall.
Well, here it is, Sam. Oh, Sam, what's the matter? You don't look at all well.
Can't be. It didn't happen. It's a misprint. That's what it is.
What, Sam? What?
Maybe the writer was tired.
Oh, Sam, it's only a story.
That's what you think.
Well, did Red Gillis find his brother?
I won't tell.
Oh, no, Sam, now don't be childish.
Oh, well, all right. Remember the sheriff he shot on page 1?
What?
Yeah, it turned out to be the new schoolmarm.
Oh, how ornery. A woman, huh? Night, Sam.
Get up. Good night, sweetheart.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Since the world began, woman was meant for man.
Well, Sam, I must say, this is the shortest honeymoon in my experience.
F, have you been keeping something from me?
Well, I wouldn't blame myself if I did. You didn't exactly telegraph this punch.
Come on in, Angel, and I'll tell you as much about it as I think you should know.
And what, may I ask, is a large parcel with a pink ribbon around it?
Love letters. What else?
Well, I must say, for a whirlpool romance.
Whirlpool?
I mean, writing all those letters. When did she find time to get acquainted?
Stop pulling at that blouse. What's the matter? Does it itch?
Sam, now that your marital status is no longer quo, well, damn these little routine formalities. Don't you think we should be a little more stilted with each other hereafter?
In the hereafter? Then, perhaps, and not a minute before. To Sergeant Joseph Walsh, Bunko and Fugitive Detail, San Francisco Police. From you-know-who, license number 137596. Subject, the, easy, F. Subject, the love letter caper, or how to be happily married, though single. The start of it was last Wednesday morning. I had just arisen, shaved, bathed, weighed myself in the bathroom scales, and decided on a breakfast of black coffee and rye crisp. Noisy stuff. Oh.
Special delivery. Sign here.
Oh, now hold this, will you, Sonny?
Yeah, what do you call this? Some kind of Italian soda cracker?
Rye crisp, low in calories. Take a bite.
Oh,
you could
no,
lose a pound or two yourself. There you are. Eat the change.
Thanks. I'll smoke it after dinner.
First thing that fell out of the envelope was a photograph, glamour type. It was inscribed, "To Sam, body and soul, Ella." The letter was in the same tone of voice.
Sam. Oh, Sam, my darling. Last night was so beautiful, but now my arms are empty and I'm filled with strange fears for the future. Unless I see you soon, I don't know how I can go on living. Come to me tonight, my darling. Wait until the house is dark. Then slip in through the west gate and I'll meet you beside the fountain. If you fail me, I don't know what I'll do. But I know you won't. All my love, forever. Ella.
I read it over again, looked longingly at her picture, and shook my memory down. I couldn't even remember ever meeting a girl named Ella, but I did remember that last night was definitely not beautiful. In fact, I had dropped $35 in a blackjack game, not deductible. After I had tested the letter for invisible ink, codes, and ciphers, etc., with negative results, I decided it was either A, a crank letter, or B, bait, or C, a camouflage call for help from a damsel in distress. I took another look at said damsel's photograph and decided I would investigate her distress. I then phoned my secretary and told her to look up the night bus schedule to Atherton, the return address on the envelope containing said love letter. It was around 11 p.m., and the moon was just clearing the treetops behind the Comstock mansion when I slipped in at the west gate for the instructions in Ella's love letter and took a plant beside the aforementioned fountain. The house was in darkness, and I didn't see the ladder until the moon cleared the chimney pot. There was a girl climbing down the ladder from the second story, and she had a suitcase in her hand. When she reached the ground, she looked around anxiously, spotted me, and flew into my arms.
Sam! Oh, Sam, my darling, you didn't fail me. Oh, my precious, hold me, never let me go. I love you.
I love you, too, but now
I'll
look.
explain it all later. We'll have to hurry. I think he suspected something.
Who suspected
Please,
what?
there isn't time. Come on. Oh, the watchman. We'll have to go out the back way. Come on.
Hey there! Come back here! Hey, you!
Hey, hold it. Get down.
No, let me go. We've got to get out of
I
here.
said get down.
No!
Shut up.
Riley, what's going on down there? Oh, a couple of fowlers, Mr. Comstock. They had a ladder up to the second story, the hall window. But I scared them off. Oh, not all. Well, let's have no more shooting. I'm trying to scream.
Come on. It's our last chance. If he looks in that room, I love you.
I love you. What room?
Wait, well, my room, of course.
Where are you planning on going?
Anywhere, just so I get away from him. I love you.
I love you. Who's him?
My uncle. He's been holding me prisoner in that house.
Oh, come now.
I tell you, he's insane. He'll kill us both if we're caught, so please, come on.
I went because A, I don't like being shot at, and B, there was a wild possibility that she was indeed a fairy princess on the lamb from a dragon. I discounted half a B when we reached her getaway car. It was parked in the alley with a motor running. When she insisted that I drive, I hesitated whether to head directly to police headquarters or nail her the stupid way. I was weak from being on a diet, so it was Hobson's choice, more familiarly known as Spade's Folly.
What is this place?
It's where I live.
You wouldn't lie to me.
Not about that. Look at the address. Your love letter arrived here. Come on. Here, let me carry your bag.
No, it's all right. I'll carry it.
Come on. It's okay. No cops, no booby traps. Now, let's have a look at that suitcase.
No, you mustn't.
Come on. Give it to me.
Oh, no, you can't.
Why not?
Because you'll get the wrong idea. Oh.
Well. What have we here?
I knew you'd get the wrong idea.
The only thing you seem to have missed is the Hope diamond.
That jewelry is mine, every piece of it.
Uh-huh.
It's all I have in the world.
Poor kid. Let's see now. Diamond bracelet, not more than 10 grand. Emerald necklace, second-hand, of course. All told, I don't imagine this stuff will net you a penny more than $100,000.
I know, but I'll just have to get along as best I can. I don't have any money of my own.
Yeah, why did you write me that crazy love letter?
Because my uncle reads all my mail. And I didn't want him to know I was hiring a detective.
Why did you?
I couldn't very well walk around with all these jewels without some protection, could I? Oh, my uncle. He's followed me here.
Suppose it's the cops.
Oh, no, it's he. I know it. Where can I hide?
In here?
Don't you have a bedroom?
Yeah, but it has a window and a fire escape in here. Go on. Go on.
Spade?
Yeah.
I suppose she's told you about me.
You her uncle?
Oh, good heavens, no. I'm Stuart Mason. I'm her fiancé. Or was, till she ran away with you.
Maybe you'd better step inside, Mr. Mason.
Thank you.
Sit down. I'd like to...
No. I just brought a few things I'd like to leave for Ella. Here. This bundle of letters. Love letters to me. I suppose she'll want to destroy them.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Mason. Don't jump to any rash conclusion.
I saw her come down the ladder. I saw her throw herself into your arms.
Yeah, but...
I can't blame her. I've been a coward. I told myself it was for her own sake that I discouraged her from escaping with me. But now I know that, well, it was at least partly fear for myself. But I might die as the others did.
Yeah, but, what others?
The men she's known. They've all died under mysterious circumstances, and... Didn't she warn you?
Well, all she told me was that her uncle was insane and wouldn't let her out.
Crazy like a fox. As long as she remains unmarried, he controls her money. $3 million of it.
Uh-huh.
Well, only the brave deserve the fair, alas. If you'll just give her these letters and tell her that I...
You tell her yourself. Come on out, Ella.
Stuart, why did you come here?
Your letters, my dear. And I wish you every happiness.
Stuart.
You too, old man. Good night.
Oh, Stuart, darling, I can explain everything.
Don't try, my dear.
Oh, Stuart, come back.
Hey, Ella, your jewelry. Your love letters.
Hey, we'll take care of those letters, Spade. Keep the gun on him, Riley.
Inside, you. Over there, sweetheart.
What do you want?
Mr. Spade, I've been aware for some time that you've been carrying on a surreptitious love affair with my niece.
Look, Mr. Comstock.
Watch him, Riley.
Don't worry, Mr. Comstock.
I advise you against trying to jump him, Spade.
Why should I? You're both nuts, but not crazy enough to take a shot at me here.
Try me and see.
I wouldn't waste the energy. I haven't made a penny on this caper so far, and it doesn't look like I will.
Ha! Not a penny, he says. The king's ransom and jewels extorted from a foolish, lovesick girl.
Oh, how did I manage that?
Don't you play the innocent with me. This packet of love letters will satisfy the police. Blackmail.
You're crazy. Those letters weren't written to me.
You deny that Ella has ever written you a letter?
One too many. In fact, one.
Well, how do you explain these? Darling Sam. Sam, my dearest one.
What?
Sam, my great, big, beautiful detective. Dated last October.
Hey, let me see those
Watch
things.
it. I told you not to move.
Yeah, so you did. Well, what now?
Very well. Give me the police department. Yes, it is. Hello? This is Hugo Comstock. I want to make a complaint. Blackmail. Oh. Hello. I want to... Yes, Sergeant. The name is Hugo Comstock, and I'm making this complaint on the behalf of my niece, Miss Ella Comstock. The name of the offender is Samuel Spade, a private detective. Huh? Well, of course I'm sure. Yes, I'm holding him at his apartment now. The address is... Oh, you have it. Well, I'm not surprised. You better hurry over here. Right away. He's threatening violence.
You really think you can make that stick?
Mr. Spade, I'm sure I can.
Dirty words and foul imprecations were forming on my trembling lips. But he had letters from his niece to one Sam, a great, big, beautiful detective. And I had the jewels, and before the night was over, Sergeant Walsh, you had me. Booked, bothered, and bewildered. What bewildered me was how to raise the $2,500 bail. Sam Spade, innocent dupe.
The United States Armed Forces Radio Service is presenting the weekly adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade.
Up the times to my breakfast of rude prison fare. They didn't serve any rye crisp, but what they did serve was even less fattening. I thrust my emaciated arms through the bars of my cell and clawed at the lapels of a passing bondsman and begged him for succor. He says I didn't need any because I was it. I hurled him aside and sat down to think. About then, you, Sergeant Walsh, hove to in front of my cell.
Okay, Sam, get moving. You're free.
Gee, thanks. Who stood my bail?
Great kidder, aren't you?
Sergeant, am I to understand that the charges have been dropped?
Get out of here.
All right, I know when I'm not wanted. Mine not the reason why.
And don't come back.
Your inhospitable words cut me to the quick, Sergeant, but I bit my lip, swallowed my pride, very low calorie, and strode bravely out into the sunlight a free man, I thought, until I bought a newspaper. Right there on page 1, it said, Heiress reveals secret marriage to private detective. Blackmail charges against Sam Spade dropped. All a mistake, says Uncle. Next to the item was a picture of Ella leaning over a hot stove in my kitchen. It was captioned, Surprise bride prepares breakfast for incarcerated mate. We'll keep things hot for him, says Mrs. Spade.
Sam, darling, darling, your breakfast is ready.
I'm on a diet. Take off that apron and sit down.
I did it for your sake, Sam, darling.
Wouldn't it have been simpler just to have dropped the charges?
Oh, it wasn't difficult. The nicest man forged the license and the certificate for only $10.
I know a guy who would have done it for $5 and thrown in some fingerprints for free, but that's not the point.
But, darling, don't you see? If you'd just gone free without being married to me, Uncle Hugo might have done something worse to you. Like kill you.
Nuts. Who are these ex-admirers of yours who are supposed to have been knocked off by your uncle? Name 3.
Well, there was Ralph Bettinson. He died of vapor lock.
Of what?
It happened in the mountains. Something went wrong with his car, but they couldn't prove it because it blew up and burned after it went over the cliff. And then there was poor Freddie Push. They called him the piggy bank suicide.
Why?
They found $5 worth of pennies in his stomach.
Oh.
And then there was poor Nicky Nato. He was a ballet dancer.
That's enough. Now about those letters. Why was your friend Mason returning love letters you'd written to some detective named Sam?
Well, that was just coincidence. He always went by his initials, you know, like GBS for George Bernard Shaw. SAM is for Stuart Andrew Mason. Stuart Andrew is his pen name. He writes detective stories.
And the rest of the coincidence was that love letter you inadvertently mailed to Sam Spade detective, thereby sending your uncle out gunning for Sam instead of SAM?
What could I do after he read my diary and my confessions to myself about SAM and the references to his brilliant mind on criminal subjects? Well, you were a natural stand-in for SAM.
Pronounced SAP.
But I wasn't going through with it, Sam. Not after I met you.
Why not?
Because the moment I saw you, I knew that all those things I'd said in that love letter were really true.
Really? Last night was so beautiful?
I think I must have dreamed of you.
Exactly.
Oh, Sam, darling, I'm so lost and frightened.
Hear me.
You don't know what my life has been.
Oh, I can imagine. Boyfriends dropping dead right and left.
You're the only one who can stop it. If Uncle Hugo thinks we're really married and he can't use my money anymore, then he'll stop having accidents happen to people. Won't you please be my husband, Sam? Is that so much to ask after what I did for you?
Yeah. Go on. You spring me out of that blackmail frame so I can help you compound a felony.
But, Sam, what am I going to do?
You forged a marriage, go forge a divorce.
Where are you going?
Back to jail. I'll see you there.
Oh, dear me. Hit your foot, did it? Cast iron. Don't make them like that nowadays.
My foot.
Your foot. I meant the strong box.
Oh.
Oopsie. Coming in or going out?
I think I'll sit down for a minute.
Oh, Sam, you poor dear boy. Here, let me take off your shoes so it can swell if it wants.
Get away from me.
I only wanted to help. I love you.
Well, I don't love you anymore.
Oh, first little spat, is it?
Who is this guy?
Oh, Sam, I'm sorry. This is Curtin.
You can say that again.
Curtains. Harwood L. Curtains. L for Lacey, attorney at law. I represent the estate of the late Gertrude Comstock, Ella's mother. You, Mr. Spade, have married into, shall we say, money?
Look, Curtains, it's time to raise the blinds on a couple of things. In the first place...
Please. As you know, Ella, your grandfather, the late Commodore Ezra Comstock, left his fortune to be divided equally between his legitimate heirs, that is, your mother and your Uncle Hugo. Upon your mother's death, the residue of her part of the estate was left to be administered by your Uncle Hugo as he saw fit until your marriage, at which time it should go to you.
Well, where is it?
Yeah.
All in good legal time. First, here is this old strong box.
You mean strong box?
Containing family mementos handed down to you from your grandmother. It was your mother's wish that this be delivered into your hands upon this auspicious occasion. Here is the key, in addition to which I leave with you both my best wishes for your future happiness. Good day. Mr. Spade, I shall forward along to you the statement of my fees for services in this case.
Wait a minute. Who's paying my fee?
No more questions, please. Good day.
Well, I guess we might as well open it.
Oh, I'm sleepy.
Oh, no. Let's see what's in here.
All right, let's. It didn't take long to go through Grandma Comstock's mementos, and I got more and more wide awake as we went along. The strong box contained 4 items: a teapot, a bundle of letters, a photograph album, and a family skeleton. The letters were love letters from one Elmo Pinckney. There was a tin type that said Pinckney in the album. He was a dead ringer for Uncle Hugo, which might have been a coincidence, but wasn't. I started scanning through the love letter.
Find any money yet?
Huh? Well, there's a Confederate 10 spot. I'll let you know if I hit any pay dirt.
Well, at least she left me a pot to make tea in.
What?
But if there wasn't any money, why wouldn't Uncle Hugo let me get married?
Now, look, why don't you go and wash out that pot and make some tea, huh?
Probably leave. Oh, something in it.
Hmm?
No money. Just grandmother's marriage certificate and mother's and Uncle Hugo's birth certificate.
Let's see those.
Oh, it's cracked. I might have known. I wonder who that is.
That will be your Uncle Hugo.
Well, that doesn't need to worry us anymore, does it?
Yeah, put these things back in the teapot and put the teapot on the mantelpiece.
But it's cracked.
So am I, so do it anyway. Come right in, Uncle Hugo. You too, Cousin Riley, you fool.
Very funny. Now, don't be silly, Riley. Ella, accept your poor old uncle's blessing on this happy occasion.
I don't want your blessing, Uncle Hugo. You're a mean old man, and you killed all my fiancés.
Well, it appears that Mr. Curtins has already brought you a legacy. I believe I recognize your grandmother's strongbox. Mementos of a strange romantic chapter in the history of a great family, Mr. Spade. You who have joined that family so unexpectedly will have a privilege that even I was never granted.
Oh, how come?
My mother was a strange woman in some ways.
I'm sure she was.
I suppose we shall never know what prompted her to leave these personal oddments to Ella's mother, nor why my late sister chose to keep their contents a secret from me. I don't suppose I might be allowed just a peek into that Pandora's box.
Go ahead, help yourself.
Really? There's nothing but a photograph album and a bundle of letters.
Love letters, Uncle Hugo. They seem to run in your family. Would you like to read them?
You have no objection, Ella.
Me?
Why should she have? And I can give the whole story to you in a nutshell, Uncle Hugo. It seems that Grandma Comstock fell in love with a handsome rascal named Pinckney, a deserter from the Confederate Army, and eloped with him to New Orleans. Her family pursued her there, had Pinckney arrested, got an annulment, and whisked her back home in time for her scheduled wedding to Ezra Comstock. These letters were written to her by Pinckney while he languished in prison awaiting court-martial. Here's the last one. Read it for yourself.
Oh. Lydia, my darling, in a few hours I face a firing squad. Please, no tears, no regrets. I'm glad that you are married to a man who is worthy of you. Comstock will be a better father for our child than I would ever have been. Farewell, my love. Huh. So that was a secret. Nothing so extraordinary about that.
I think it's very tragic. Think of her, married to a man she didn't love, about to have the child, and her lover facing a firing squad.
Nonsense. Sentimental nonsense.
What do you know about such things?
I should know a little. After all, I was that child.
Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle Hugo.
Ah, wow. Fine old piece of spode.
What?
This teapot. I don't remember seeing this here before.
Just something I picked up in a junk shop.
It's a very rare piece. Do you mind if I look at the mark?
Go ahead.
Yes, indeed. Genuine example. Pity it's cracked. Oh! Now, that was clumsy of me. Well, there's no good saving the pieces. I'll just toss them in the fire.
Wait a minute, Comstock. I'll take care of it.
Oh, it's no trouble. Well, what's this?
It's your birth certificate, Uncle Hugo.
Give me that.
Oh, no.
What are you going to do with it?
Put it back where it came from.
Riley. Yeah, Mr. Comstock. Spade, I'm going out of here, and I'm taking that strongbox with me. And don't think I won't kill you to get it.
He will, Sam, just as he did the others.
And you, too, if you don't shut your trap. Hand it over, Spade.
Sure. Come and get it.
Okay, let's have it.
There you are.
Riley, what's wrong with you?
Oh, my foot is broken. Oh!
Sit down and rest it.
Oh!
Hold it, Comstock. I've got the gun now.
Oh!
Well, Spade, seems you've won the day.
Oh.
How does it feel to be a rich man?
You'll have to tell me, Comstock. The reports of my marriage to your niece are slightly exaggerated. And that's about it, Sergeant. I'm sorry I can't furnish you with the forged papers Ella used to back up that phony story of her marriage to me. A fire broke out in the wastebasket, and I accidentally dropped them into it. As for Comstock and his Gunzel Riley, I will gladly press charges against them on the blackmail frame until homicide decides whether there's a case against him on the mysterious deaths of Ella's previous fiancés. Period. End of report.
But, Sam, why?
Why, what, Ed?
Did he want that old cracked teapot?
Well, because grandmother's love letters plus the documents in that teapot prove that Hugo was not a Comstock, but a Pinckney, and hence not entitled to one red penny of the Comstock fortune, which was left, if you recall, to Grandpa's legitimate heir.
Well, who was? Entitled, I mean.
Ella, but if she never married, she'd never find out,
Well,
you
she
see.
doesn't deserve it.
Hmm?
After making a pigeon out of you the way she did.
I agree, sweetheart, but how else could she afford to pay my fee?
Well, I certainly hope you so.
I fully intend to. Go type that up while I falsify an expense account.
Well, here it is, Sam. Did you finish yours?
No, still a couple of fingers in there. Break out another glass.
No, I meant the expense account.
Oh, that. Well, it was nothing much, just bus fare. Free breakfast in the pokey? No, that'll be the size.
Well, I took the liberty, Sam, of drawing up a statement. Did you look it over?
Yeah. New letterhead.
Well, it's only a sample I had dummy.
Up?
Pending your approval. Do you?
Well, yes, very classy. I like the coat of arms, but I'm not quite sure about the motto.
Oh, but Sam, you are the greatest private detective of them all.
Well, you know best, Effie.
And then, for an extra $100, we could have it printed in Rady ink.
In what?
Luminous ink, Sam. Shines in the dark.
Even as you and I.
Oh, Sam. I'm glad you're still a bachelor.
Go home, all the same.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie.
Another cup of Maxwell House coffee, George?
Sure, pour me a cup, Gracie.
You know Maxwell House is always good to the last drop.
That drop's good, too.
Yes, it's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With our special guest, Howard Duff, who is the famous detective Sam Spade. Yours truly, Toby Reed, Joseph Kearns, Eric Snowden, Harry Lubin, the Maxwell House Orchestra, and Bill Goodwin.
For America's Thursday night comedy enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for America's everyday coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House. Always good to the last drop.
Many people say that Gracie is responsible for George being where he is today, and that's certainly true. Gracie is also responsible for Sam Spade being where he is today. You see, George and Sam Spade are both in jail. How did it happen? Well, let's listen as George is being questioned by a police lieutenant.
All right, let's start at the top. Name? George Burns. Occupation? I'm married to Gracie Allen. No. What do you do? What keeps you busy? I'm married to Gracie Allen. Let me put it this way. What's your source of income? I'm married to Gracie Allen. All right, skip it. What's your age? Approximately 42. How come you look older? I'm married to Gracie Allen. What's your address? 360 North Camden. All right, Burns, now suppose you tell me why you're in this jam. I'm married to Gracie Allen. You're in a rut. Hey, Spade, how come you're in this jam?
He's married to Gracie Allen.
You know, Burns, you and this Spade character are accused of murder. Now suppose you tell me the whole story right from the start.
Okay, Lieutenant. It all started last Sunday night. I was sitting home listening to the radio with my wife. I'm married to
Gracie Allen. Yes, that part I know. Take it from there.
Well, Gracie and I were listening to The Adventures of Sam Spade. The program was just finishing.
All right, Jenkins, let's take a little ride down to headquarters.
Me, sir? But I wouldn't murder Mr. Benson. I've been his butler for 20 years.
Don't play innocent. I know you pulled this caper, and I've got enough evidence to put you right in the hot seat.
But, Mr. Spade, I didn't do it.
Say that malarkey for the warden. You were clever, Jenkins, but not clever enough. I think I'll call this the careless butler caper.
Why did you turn off the radio, Gracie?
Sam Spade got the wrong man tonight.
What?
I'm positive that Jenkins the butler wasn't guilty. An innocent man is going to get the hot plate.
Hot seat. And don't worry. He'll only get it on the radio.
Well, who cares where they put it? When he sits down, it'll burn. I've got to talk to Sam Spade right away.
Honey, Sam Spade is not a real detective.
I'll say he isn't. Any man who'd make an innocent butler sit on the hot plate should...
Gracie,
He'll get a hot seat.
Oh, he sure will after he sits on that hot plate.
Look, here's what I mean. On his program, Sam Spade is a private detective. But in real life, he's just an ordinary guy. Just like on your program, you're a nitwit. But in real life... That won't work. Anyway, Gracie, what you just heard was only a radio program.
I know that. The real crime happened last week. Every Sunday night, Sam Spade broadcasts his most thrilling case of the week.
You still don't understand. Sam Spade is just a character.
I'll say he's a character. Making that poor innocent butler sit on a hot plate.
Hot seat. Let me try to explain this once more. Sam Spade isn't even the fella's real name. He's the brainchild of Dashiell Hammett.
Oh, you mean his real name is Sam Hammett?
No, his real name is Howard Duff.
Then why isn't his father's name Dashiell Duff?
Look, Sam Spade doesn't have any actual father or mother. He came from Dashiell Hammett's typewriter.
Oh, George, you're so innocent. You believe that old story about coming from under cabbage leaves, too.
What's the use? Okay, Sam Spade is a naughty detective, and he's sending an innocent butler to the hot plate.
Hot seat.
Good night, dear.
Good night.
Well, Lieutenant, I didn't think any more about it. I was tired. It was past my bedtime.
What time was it?
It was after 9.
Gee.
So I went to bed thinking Gracie would follow me. Instead, she followed Sam Spade.
Oh, what do you mean?
Let me tell you about that part of it, Lieutenant.
Okay, Spade.
Well, I'd finished my regular Sunday night show at the broadcasting studio, after which the actors lingered on for a little bull session, you know, who stepped on whose lines, I want a bigger part next week, and so forth. So, it's about 10 when I step out into the California night air, which is also about 10. But, there's no snow, so I decide to walk home. I haven't taken 2 steps when this little lady grabs me by the sleeve and says,
"Are you Sam Spade?"
Well, if I had known then what I know now, I would have thrown myself under the wheels of a passing sunset bus. But I'm a ham, and I figure she's maybe a fan, so I answer in my best Pasadena Playhouse voice. Why, yes, I'm Sam Spade.
The butler didn't do it.
Huh?
You've got the wrong man. The butler didn't jerk that kipper.
Jerk that kipper?
Yank that copper?
You mean pull that caper?
That's it, yeah. You sent an innocent man to jail.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Lady, I think you're a little mixed up about me. I'm just an actor on CBS.
That's what everybody says.
Look, little lady, I'm tired. It's been a tough day. I'll see you around, huh?
Now, just a minute, Sam Spade. I heard you arrest that butler. Now, you've got to let him go free.
You wouldn't give me a rib, would you?
Anything to free that butler. Which rib do you want?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you write me a letter? With a dull pencil. Don't use anything sharp.
Mm-hmm. I'll do better than that. I'll come to your office. Where is it?
I haven't got an office.
Oh, plain cagey, huh? All right. I'll come to your house. Where's that?
321... Oh, no. I'm not talking. I want to get some sleep tonight. So long.
So long.
Why are you following me? What do you want?
Got a cigarette?
Sure. Here you are.
Thanks. Got a match?
Sure. Want me to light it for you?
No, thanks. I don't smoke.
Then why did you ask me for a cigarette?
Well, I thought I'd better have it in case somebody asked me for one.
I see.
Would you like a cigarette?
No, thanks.
Well, good night.
Good night. Okay. Now what?
Got the time?
Yeah, it's exactly 10:10.
Thanks.
No, I meant it's 10 minutes after 10.
You're wrong. My watch says 15 after 10.
You've got a watch?
Sure.
Then why did you ask me the time?
Want a cigarette?
No.
Well, good night.
Good night. Look, lady, stop following me.
Oh!
Oh, it's you again.
Yeah, fancy meeting me here. Can't I give you the slip?
Please. I couldn't accept a thing like that from a strange man.
All right, what do you want this time?
Got a road map?
A road map. Are you lost?
No.
May I make a suggestion?
What?
Get lost.
Well, good night.
Good night. Well, I've had enough of this, little lady. You've seen the end of me.
Yeah, for 2 blocks.
This time I'll lose you. Hey, taxi. Let's get out of here, cabby, but fast. Here's my house, cabby. Pull up. That was real driving, buddy. Keep the change. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, no. Oh, no! How did you get here?
On the back of that cab.
Who are you, anyway?
Oh, no. I'm too smart to tell you who I am. If I did, you'd complain to my husband, George Burns.
Oh, so you're Gracie Allen.
How did you find out?
You forget I'm a detective.
Oh.
And now I know what the National Safety Council means when they say don't be a Gracie.
Oh, never mind that. Are you going to let the butler go?
Look, Gracie, there's really no butler in prison, and I'm not really Sam Spade.
Oh, now don't give me that story about your mother being a typewriter.
What?
You're not talking to a child. I'm older than I look.
Okay, Gracie, I see there's no use arguing with a smart girl like you. I'll see that the butler gets out. I'll get him the best mouthpiece in town.
Get him out first. Fix his teeth later.
Okay. Good night. Well, Lieutenant, I thought that would be the end of the episode.
But it wasn't, huh?
Brother, you haven't heard anything yet. The next morning...
Wait a minute, Mr. Burns. Before I listen to any more of this story, I'll have to send out for some aspirin.
Yeah, have some of mine.
Hey, how come you walk around with your pockets full of aspirin?
I'm married to Gracie Allen.
Yes, it's Strike Up the Band, the glorious music of George Gershwin. You know, you just can't mistake those melodies, those typical harmonies, the wonderful Gershwin rhythms. And it's all these things, all the separate musical elements skillfully combined, that make the music of George Gershwin so immortal. Listen a moment to one of his most famous compositions. It was heard for the first time just 25 years ago tonight. But see if you can recognize it when we play just the mellow harmony. With that, we'll blend this counter melody for richness. And now to add that vigorous Gershwin rhythm. Finally, we'll round out this great score as Gershwin intended you to hear and enjoy it by adding his full-bodied melody. Yes, the famous Rhapsody in Blue, even more popular today than when it was first played 25 years ago tonight. Like all great composers, George Gershwin knew well that great music requires not one, but many fine musical parts, all skillfully blended into one harmonious score. And friends, it takes the same skill in blending to bring you great coffee, famous Maxwell House coffee. Its flavor, rich, satisfying, good to the last drop flavor that's made Maxwell House America's favorite brand of coffee. And to create the superb flavor, our Maxwell House experts combine not one, but many choice coffees from the fertile highlands of Latin America. First, they select premium grades of Monticelli's coffees for mellowness. To these coffees, fine medallions are added for richness. But famous Maxwell House flavor must be more than mellow and rich, so other choice coffees are added for vigor. And then Bucaramanga's coffees contribute their fine, full body. This perfectly balanced Maxwell House blend is then radiant roasted to flavor perfection and brought to you vacuum-packed and roaster fresh.
And because you folks on the West Coast really know and enjoy coffee at its best, Maxwell House is blended and roasted for you right here on the West Coast to satisfy your critical tastes.
So tomorrow, discover all the extra flavor that's yours in every cup of America's favorite brand of coffee. Famous Maxwell House, always good to the last drop. And now, back to the city jail, where George and Sam Spade are trying to explain how Gracie put them there.
Let's see if I've got this straight so far, Burns. Your wife listened to Sam Spade's program, thought he was really sending an innocent butler to the chair, and started hounding him.
That's right, Lieutenant.
What did you think, Spade?
I didn't know what to think, Lieutenant. The surveys tell me I have 10 million odd listeners, but I didn't think any of them were that odd.
Well, anyway, to get rid of her, you told her that you'd free the butler.
Yeah, but that didn't satisfy Gracie. She demanded to see the guy.
That's when Spade came to me for help. He asked me to make Gracie leave him alone.
What'd you say?
I told him to ask me something easy, like getting Westbrook Pegler to dance with Eleanor Roosevelt.
Mr. Burns, why do you put up with a wife like that?
I'm too old to go back to Gus Edwards. Besides which, I happen to love her.
Well, so what did you two decide to do?
Well, there was only one thing we could do. That was dig up the actor who played the butler in my program and let Gracie see him.
Which we did.
Yeah, and that's when we really got into trouble.
Well, tell me just what happened.
Okay. Spade was giving the guy his final instructions.
Now, remember, Claude, you're Jenkins the butler, and I have set you free.
Don't worry, I'll have Mrs. Burns crying like a baby. In radio, they don't call me the male Ma Perkins for nothing.
Oh, come on, Gracie's in the next room. Honey, here's Sam Spade.
Yes, Mrs. Burns, and I've freed the butler. Here he is.
How do you do, madam?
It is the butler. I recognize that voice. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Jenkins. What will you do now that you're free?
I shall return to the home of my youth.
Where does your youth live?
I had reference to my birthplace, madam. Dear old England. I shall go back there to regain my health.
Really?
Yes, America is nice, but I'll take Liverpool.
Well, you don't have to go to England for Liverpools. They're made right here.
Oh, yes, that's Carter's little Liverpools. They take...
Liverpool is the name of a city.
Yes, now, thank Mrs. Burns for getting you out of jail and then disappear.
Madam, your beneficent intervention has terminated a most injurious and humiliating incarceration. You'll never know what that means.
Well, I won't unless you shorten the words.
Goodbye, Jenkins.
Farewell all. I go to a new and better life.
Oh, goodbye. Write me from Kidney Creek.
Liverpool.
Well, I was in the right neighborhood. Goodbye.
Well, that takes care of that, eh, George?
You said it.
I'll be running along, too. Goodbye, Gracie.
Just a minute. Now, look, if the butler didn't murder Mr. Benson, who did?
Huh?
You proved that his wife and daughter didn't do it, and there was only one other person on the scene. So he must be the murderer.
Who?
You.
Me?
Confess, Sam Spade. You murdered Mr. Benson.
But I had no motive.
Then you did it with something else.
Look, Gracie,
Hand me my lipstick, George. I'm going to give him the 3rd degree.
Lipstick?
Well, I want to look nice when he shines that bright light in my face.
You're supposed to shine it in his face.
Oh, well, then give him the lipstick.
I'm getting out of this madhouse. Goodbye.
Well, Lieutenant, Spade ran out of that house like Like he was seeing a ghost. Which was true because from then on, Gracie started haunting him. Trying to make him confess.
Yeah, she found out that my radio sponsor was Wild Root Cream Oil, so she disguised herself with a big hat and a veil and knocked at my door.
Sam Spade?
Yes.
How do you do? My name is Wild Root.
Wild Root?
Perhaps you know my husband, Willie Cream Oil. My full name is Mrs. Wild Root Cream Oil. I'm the wife of your sponsor.
Now, look.
I understand you murdered a Mr. Benson. Now, that's strictly forbidden in your contract.
Mrs. Cream Oil, you look like Gracie Allen to me.
Flattery will get you no place. Now, if you'd like to confess, perhaps we can get you off with life imprisonment. And when you come out, you can take over your program again.
Gracie, I did not murder Mr. Benson. Go away. But the next day, she was back. This time with another disguise.
Sam Spade?
Yes?
I'm from Western Union. I have a telegram here from President Truman.
What?
I'll read it to you. Dear Sam, confess. Signed, Harry. Any answer?
Scram. Beat it. Go away.
That's no way to talk to the president.
Out. Out. But the third day topped everything. She posed as a private detective.
Sam Spade?
Yes?
I'm Sally Shovel. Now, listen, chum. We're in the same racket, pal, and I want to help you, buddy, so why don't you confess, Mac?
You're a private eye?
Also ear, nose, and throat. I put everything into my work. Now, confess, Doc. So you murdered Benson, so what? I've been mixed up with a few keepers. Or is it capers?
In your case, it's keepers. Now go away.
Well, Lieutenant, that's when Spade came to see me again. Looking much older.
Yeah, we hit on a brilliant scheme. We decided that I should confess the murder, then George would pretend to take me to the city hall to surrender, and Gracie would forget the whole thing.
But Gracie did something we didn't count on.
What was that?
While I was going to pick up Spade, she called the police.
Oh, yes, that's where I come into the picture. She called me.
I suppose you tell us what happened then.
Well, when I got to the house, she said...
There's a desperate criminal on his way here to confess a murder. As soon as he confesses, you can grab him.
Don't worry, lady, I'll...
Oh, that must be him.
Yeah, you wait in the next room. He may be armed.
Oh, he is. There's one hanging from each shoulder. You call me if you need...
Oh, hello. Where is everybody?
Never mind. What's your name?
Bill Goodwin.
What did you do with the body?
I took her home.
What did you do then?
I dumped her out.
Oh, she was dead, huh?
Well, sure, that's why I took her home.
You've done a pretty terrible thing, young man.
Tomorrow I'll send her some flowers.
Oh, you're a real killer.
Oh, sure.
Now tell me everything you did tonight.
I will not. Who are you, her father? No. Well, in that case, I'll tell you that. Another fellow and I double dated. We met the girls, and the four of us went into a restaurant for dinner. I ordered 4 cups of Maxwell House coffee.
Then what?
Well, I told the waiter to bring the other people some, too. See, I wanted them to taste the rich, mellow goodness of Maxwell House. It's America's favorite coffee, you know.
Yes, I know. What happened then?
Well, that's when the girl and I got into a fight.
Ah, what about?
She caught me drinking her Maxwell House coffee.
Hey, but you'd had 4 cups.
Well, when you taste that good to the last drop flavor, you just don't know when to stop. You know, Maxwell House is a blend of the finest Latin American coffees, radiant roasted to the peak of flavor perfection.
Well, officer, did he confess to murder? Bill Goodwin.
He confessed everything, Mrs. Burns. He got mixed up with a girl, and now he's headed for the chair.
You're nuts. When I get mixed up with a girl, I head for the divan.
I mean the electric chair. You killed a girl.
Are you kidding? All I killed was 5 cups of Maxwell House coffee.
Yes, officer, this is the wrong man. Sam Spade is the one you want to arrest.
Sam Spade is in trouble? Oh, gee, I was going to hire him to find someone for me.
Who?
Girl about 5'2", red hair, green eyes, terrific figure, drives a Cadillac convertible.
Oh, when did you last see her?
Who's seen her? I want Spade to find me one like that. Well, so long.
be any mistake this time, officer. Here comes my husband up the walk with the real murderer.
Yeah, anyone can tell that guy's a criminal. Look at that low forehead.
That's my husband.
Oh. Well, this time I want to hear the confession before I make the pinch. I'll just duck into this closet.
Oh, poor Mr. Spade. I hate to think of him sitting in the electric chair. With those long legs, he'll be so uncomfortable.
Well, here he is, Gracie. Ready to confess.
Yes, I can hide the truth no longer. I killed Benson.
Why did you do it, Mr. Spade?
That man murdered my mother, ruined my father, tortured my sister, and robbed my brother.
Oh, then it was nothing personal.
No, I just didn't like him.
Oh, how did it happen?
Benson was standing in a bar, see? I walked up to him, let him have 2 slugs, and he fell to the floor.
Couldn't hold his liquor, huh?
You let him have 2 slugs from a pistol. Now keep quiet and let the man confess.
Yes, dear.
I never gave him a chance, see? I shot him down in cold blood. As he lay on the floor, I pulled the trigger again and again and again. When the gun was empty, I stood over his body and laughed like the fiend that I am. I should be locked up for 20 years, 30 years.
I'll make that 40.
Huh? Who are you?
I'm Regan from Homicide.
I called him over to hear your confession.
Okay, come on, Spade.
Officer, wait a minute. Let me explain. Mr. Spade and I cooked this whole thing up together.
Oh, an accomplice. I'll take you along, too.
Wait a minute. I've never done anything wrong in my life.
Well, of course not. He's my husband. The man who married me.
All right, so I did one thing wrong.
Come on, you two.
Well, Lieutenant, that's the whole story.
My apologies, fellas. You're both free to go.
Thanks. Come on, Sam. Let's get out of here.
You said it.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Burns, your wife's waiting outside.
Gracie? So long, George. I'm staying in jail.
So long.
Oh, hello, darling.
Hello, Gracie. Let's go home.
Oh, I can't, sweetheart. I've got something important to do.
Hey, you've got that big hat and that veil on again. Where are you going?
Well, while you were in jail, I heard Ellery Queen on the radio, and he arrested the wrong man.
Oh, no, you're not going to start it.
Join us again next Thursday when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Bill Goodwin, Harry Lubin and the Maxwell House Orchestra, and yours truly, Toby Reed. And now, here are our stars.
Well, Gracie, next week we're going to have 2 guest stars. Mr. and Mrs. James Mason.
James Mason? He's that wonderful English actor who's so mean and so rough with women.
That's the man.
Gee, he might hit me. Oh, but with you here, he wouldn't dare.
You said it.
You'd show him. If he hit me, you'd hit Mrs. Mason.
That's what I
do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all remember to help the National Safety Council in their campaign to cut down the terrible toll of home accidents. Be safe. Be careful. Don't be a Gracie.
Good things.
The easy way.
Do you like good things the easy way? Then get instant Maxwell House coffee.
So good.
So good. True coffee flavor and fragrance, because instant Maxwell House is not a so-called coffee product. It's all pure Maxwell House coffee in instant form.
And so easy.
So easy. Instant Maxwell House means great coffee instantly in your cup. No fuss, no muss, no bother. Today, try Instant Maxwell House. Instantly good to the last drop. Howard Duff will soon be seen as star of the Universal International picture, Red Canyon. Until next Thursday, when our guests will be Mr. and Mrs. James Mason. Good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's favorite brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop. The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show is written by Paul Henning and Keith Fowler.